All right, cool. All right, so what we're gonna do now is, so this thing should have been fermenting for the past, whatever, 3.5, 4 hours. You've been stretching it, so it should be nice and strong. It's also been kind of, I don't know, smoothing out, so it should be nice and smooth on the top as well. What we're gonna do is we're gonna pour it out of the bowl and onto your counter, and kind of at that point, we're gonna just shape into a rough circle. Then what we're gonna do is
Should our counter be floured or not floured?
It should be floured, yeah. And we'll do that like together. I haven't floured my counter yet either. There's nothing on it. Then we're gonna fold it into a circle or into a ball, and then we're gonna place it in our baskets. So if you got one of these guys, you can do that, or another Tupperware type bowl. And then once it's in there, it's gonna hang out in there, and it's going to rise in the fridge, and we're gonna bake it tomorrow. Does that sound cool with everyone?
Quick question.
Yes.
Can I use a ceramic bowl?
Sure.
Yeah, would that work?
Yep. And actually, what we're going to do too, I would suggest everyone to actually take whatever bowl you're using and get like a cloth, a towel, whatever, and put it in there. And the dough is actually going to be resting in there, and that's going to really help when you go to turn it out. You can get it out of there a lot easier. If you just leave it in here, it might stick. You might not be able to flour it well. Yeah. So we'll go over that in a second. But I definitely recommend getting at least one clean napkin or dish towel or something. All right. So let's get started, and then we'll go over some things.
David, the bread dough, that's not going to like suck up the fibers on the towel?
We're going to flour the towel as well. So hopefully it won't get stuck to it. Yeah, but that's a good question. You should make sure that you're using like a smooth towel like this, not a terry cloth one. Because if you do have a terry cloth one, then yeah, you're right. Like, let's see, like a texture on this, it will, it will suck it up. So if it's like in a beach towel or something, that's a bad idea.
So so these are our cloth napkins, which aren't fuzzy. Should they use like a t-shirt if they don't have something?
Yeah, totally. Like, right, if you had a t-shirt or something, that would be a fine thing to use.
Or
What about a piece of wax paper? Or even the parchment paper?
Wax paper might work. I just don't see why it wouldn't.
Or tin foil?
Well, so the one thing is, like, with all that stuff is that we're going to put flour on these, and like tin foil, flour's not going to stick to it, So I definitely wouldn't.
Do you have any tea towels, Eric? Like, another
Like a tea towel. Yeah.
A hand towel that's not.
It's not fuzzy.
Not fuzzy. Like it's not textured.
Like a linen towel or something like that would work.
Yeah.
How deep is your bowl?
Hey, can you go get me one of your napkins from your napkin? That people got?
Is this deep enough?
So, do you have one that didn't use?
Yeah, that looks good to me. Then he's measuring here.
It's 3 inches, and this one's 3.5, 3 3/4.
No, don't worry about it.
If our bowl's a little deeper than that, is it okay?
If the bowl's bigger than that, that's fine. Actually, deeper is fine. You want it to be like, it's going to support the dough. So think about this. If you have a really wide bowl, like this thing, what's going to happen is my bread is going to just flatten out like a pancake, which is what I currently have right here. So that's why we want something like this that has some shape to it and can support the bowl or support the bread. So deeper is fine, but wider you probably don't want because it'll just ooze out more.
Switch to this one.
Yeah,
Who's showing it?
Lizzie.
Yeah. Lizzie's, yeah, that looks fine to me, Lizzie.
Yeah, or he could even be using like something like this. Oh, maybe it's a little
That's
too
a
small.
little too small.
But
yeah. All right, you guys ready to get these things turned out? Let's turn this stuff out. All right, you want to get the
What about this bowl? We're not sure if our bowl's the right size. It looks kind of small.
That looks like it might be okay.
Yeah.
How much are we expecting this to rise or grow once in the bowl?
So you can see it better on here.
Yeah, I think that seems fine. We are expecting it to. I don't know. It probably won't full on double. It'll
Okay.
probably be somewhere between the 1.5 to 2 times.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Should they do what you're doing right now, or should they just watch and then do it after they watch?
Yeah. Just watch this for a second because it only takes a second, and then and you can repeat. So first, I want to show you this is what my bread looks like, or my dough looks like right now. You can see in Jenny's camera here. Some things I might be looking for is like there's like a bubble kind of popping through right here. That's a good sign that a lot of fermentation has happened. You know, like it hasn't risen, but that's fine. I can see that it's still active. It's ready to get this party started. So I'm gonna just take a little bit of flour and I'm gonna put it on my work surface here. So get that on there. All right. And then I'm just gonna turn this bread, this dough out onto there kind of gently. So try not to deflate it too much, but you know, it's a little bit hard to, because it wants to stick into the bowl. All right, we got that out. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to, you see it's like kind of oblong. It's not really a circle. I'm just going to try to kind of gently suggest to it to get into a circle. So I can do that a little bit with floured hands. I'll tuck that in a little bit. Maybe I'll pull this out a little bit. You can use various scrapers to do that. It doesn't have to be accurate, like a full, like really nice circle. You can see mine's not actually that nice. It's just circular shape instead of like oozing out everywhere. So you want to do a dead on top shot of that. So you can see it's not perfect like this little flat there. I don't really care. I just want it to be circular for a minute. So I'm gonna, well, for you guys, I'm just gonna cover that up so no like drafts cool the top, and go for it. That's step one. Is gonna be to do that. Let's see what you guys got.
Is that Dan? Yeah, I see things there.
You want to put that thing back in?
It's actually okay.
How does this look, Dave? Very circular.
Let's see. Dan's, yeah, it looks good to me. It looks like a circle to me.
Nice. Yeah, it didn't really change any kind of shape. Like it's very easy to like yours where it just kind of oozes everywhere. Mine like just kind of stays in its shape.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, I'm curious as to what it'll turn out to be. Wow. So for us, this isn't probably going to be a super important phase because I'm sure that what you'll find is as you turn your dough out, it's going to be mostly, it's going to be more or less circular. But sometimes you might make like 2 loaves of bread at once, right? And so then you're going to pour out the dough and you're going to have a lot of dough and you're going to have to cut it in half. So that's a great time to cut it in half, shape it into 2 circles. And that then letting it rest on the counter for 20 minutes or something will be really good because then it'll form into a nice cohesive circle. But for us, just making 1 loaf of bread, you'll find it's not going to be that hard to just get it into a circle shape. All right, let's get it.
I can do it by hand. I just don't want to put my hands in.
Well, it seems like people are still folding, maybe. How's everybody doing? You guys got it out and ready?
We were just cleaning the counter. Didn't realize that it had to be.
Yeah.
And you said to flour the counter, right?
Yep.
It's got a lot of flour, Lucy. Lucy's there?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Cool. Looks good.
I didn't know how much flour to use, so maybe I overdid it.
That's all right. All right, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare the bowl that I'm going to put this thing in. So you can take your bowl and put a tea towel, linen towel, whatever, t-shirt, whatever you got in there. I'm going to use this funny little shower cap type object I have here. This is actually comes with the bowl or is made for this bowl. So I'm just going to put that on there. So I know that some people have these willow bowls like I have. I would recommend for this time If you can, cover it, because you'll find that the dough gets stuck in the grooves. And that's fine. It's going to give it like a nice, the telltale sign of these grooves. But it gets a little stuck in there. It can be a little frustrating for your first time. So. What I'm going to do next is a dot, dot, dot right there. Oh, no. Cool. What I'm going to do next is, now that I've got that in there, you get your towel or whatever in your bowl. I'm just going to take, I'm going to just sprinkle flour in there. A nice trick for sprinkling flour is if you have like a colander, like a strainer like this, you can just put some flour in it and then sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Let's see, am I on camera here? Yeah. So you can get a nice coverage there like that. Some people use rice flour in this phase. Apparently rice flour really helps it not stick, but I don't have rice flour, so I'm just using regular. Cool, that's that. So now this is covered in flour, a nice fine layer of flour. Then, cool, we're gonna talk about folding this, or yeah, folding this dough in a second.
I have a question, David.
Yeah.
So I have like a whole big thing of like wooden spoons and spatulas and stuff collected over like 15 years, and I found one of these.
Hey, look at that.
I recognize it from your mom.
Yeah.
But how do you use it? Do you just go like this in the bowl when you're
Pretty much.
during the auto, just the first part, or does it help knead it?
It kind of helps knead it, so I kind of just use it and kind of like as if I was I don't know. I
Like,
guess kind of.
Like how you would be beating it, kind of?
No, just kind of more folding it.
Okay.
You're doing with your hands, but with.
Yeah, right. With
Yeah. Okay. I'm excited to try it. I can YouTube how to use it. I don't think I ever knew what this was for.
Yeah, I like using it actually. I think it pulls everything together really nice.
Oh, cool. I also hate getting my hands all sticky like that, so that's helpful.
I might switch back to using that because it's kind of a pain to clean your hands all off.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I hope everybody's got their bowl floured, ready. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our dough, which is kind of resting on the counter here, and we're going to fold it up. And the purpose of folding it like this, we're going to do is it's upside down right now, okay? So we're going to fold it, and then we're going to flip it over so it's right side up. And the purpose of folding it is that we want to generate tension across the top of it. So sort of like think about your dough is going to be like a balloon. And so you want a lot of surface tension there so that way when it fills with air, again, the air doesn't escape. So I'm going to demonstrate how to do a fold on a napkin so that way you can see it. So you can get a sense of what it is. And you can feel free to practice this on a napkin too. But here's what we're going to do. Here's my napkin. This napkin is square. So you want to actually like stand there and like hold it over. This napkin is square, so it's not really a great analogy for our dough, which is round. But I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the side closest to me. I'm going to fold it to the middle, like that. You may have to like press it down or something. Then I'm going to take one side, and I'm going to fold it just a little past the middle. I'm going to take the other side, fold it a little past the middle. So I've got like this. And then I'm going to take the top, and I'm going to fold it all the way to the bottom, and then scoop it under. So now the seam is on the bottom, and on the top is going to be nice and smooth and tight. And then here you can kind of like scoop it under, kind of tuck in the edges if you need to, or whatever, until it's a nice circle.
Do you want to do that one more time, David?
Yeah, let's do another demo.
So maybe you'll do this one more time, and then you can do it on the dough with everybody watching.
Yeah.
And then everybody tries that on their own dough.
That's right. All right. So you're going to take the bottom half, pull it towards the middle. So I'll do this like you'll do this. Pull it towards the middle. Take one side, fold it to the middle, a little past the middle. Take the other side, fold it. So now these two sides are overlapping. And then grab the top and then fold it over. And as you do that, you can kind of tuck it underneath. Can't really do it on a napkin, but you can tuck it underneath. And then the seam will be on the bottom. It should be nice and tight and smooth on the top. And then if you have any edges that are sticking out or whatever, you can always use your hands to kind of nudge them into place, or you can use your bench scraper to kind of nudge it under like this. Cool. Is anybody doing, well, actually, before I go any further, does anybody have any questions about that? There are a million ways to do this. If you ever watch the videos on YouTube, you will see a million ways to do it. People have all sorts of stuff. People do like this like stitching thing where they're like doing this and pulling it all over. And then there's people that just like take it and they just like fold it in half like a taco and flip it upside down. There's all sorts of stuff. So, you know, definitely don't feel like you have to do it exactly like this or you're going to be doomed. Like I said, the whole point is just to get the seam tucked in and to get tension across the top. So however you make that happen, you know, it's going to be good. Is anybody doing a non-circular bread? Like I talked about some people doing an oval. Is anybody doing an oval?
We have an oval.
Yeah, we do.
All right, I'll give you one tip for doing the oval. It's going to be the same thing. So, you know, bottom to the middle, fold one side, and then what you might want to do is instead of just flipping it all over like the circle people are going to do, you can take it and do a series of folds, and then you see how when I'm done, it's longer than it is tall. So like everybody else is going to be a perfect circle. Yours would be now an oval.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Are you proofing it in an oval container?
We are not actually.
Okay, so that's a good point. If it needs to, the oval shape will get proofed in an oval container, but so you're going to prove it in a circular container, right? And then you're going to try to put it into that oval Dutch oven.
Yeah, we don't have an oval container.
Yeah, that's fine. So now, did you check to see if your circular container will fit into the Dutch oven?
It does.
Yes.
It does. Okay, cool. So then it's fine. You can just do a circle like everybody else.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is, I think that, you know, we've been calling this a boule. I think, I'm not totally sure, but I think boule just refers to the shape, which is just a circle, and then a batard, I think, is the oval.
What'd you call me?
Yeah. So, all right, let's get this. Let's get going here. Throw that over there.
God,
And let's get this out of here. Are you guys ready?
all right, so just watching so you get the idea, and then.
All right. I might try to fly on my hands a little bit on this. All right. This part is always so stressful. All right. I'm gonna take this guy. You know, it may stick a little bit. It's a very sticky dough, as you noticed. I'm gonna grab it and I'm gonna fold it towards the middle. Boom. Step one. I'm gonna take one side of it, pull it towards the middle. I'm gonna take the other side, pull it towards the middle. You notice I'm kind of a little stretching them out a little bit as I do that.
So you're pulling it out and into the middle?
Yeah, I'm kind of pulling it while I do that. Yeah, it gives it even more tension, you know. And then time for the top. I'm gonna take the top, I'm gonna pull it all the way over, and I'm gonna rotate this guy. So now the seam is on the bottom. Now I got this, it's not totally circular. I'm just gonna use my bench scraper to kind of tuck in some edges. And as I do that, I'm tucking in tension. As I tuck things into the bottom, it's making it tighter on the top. You can use your hands too for this. Kind of just cup it, nudge it around. Use that like the what they call the palm knife of your hand there to kind of scoop it and get it in there. This is feeling good. This feels like nice and kind of soft and pillowy.
Yeah, looks nice.
Yeah, it's a circle now.
Get the whole set here or what?
Nope, actually, so I'm gonna let it sit just here with the seam on the bottom for a minute. So now your turn. Let's see what you guys got.
Oh yeah, I was following you. Mine looks just like yours actually.
Nice, good.
Yeah, that was easier than I thought it was going to be. I was real nervous there, but
yeah, it's kind of a stressful moment.
Yeah, right.
This thing's been rising for 4 hours. I don't want to like smash it, right?
yeah. But you're right. It's kind of light, but billowy, and
Yeah,
it wasn't too hard to work with.
Yeah.
When you flour, yeah.
Strong yet soft. It's strong yet tender, just like me.
Yeah.
Am I right, Jenny?
Right.
Right.
Cool. How's everybody else looking?
Ellis is looking good. Looks like Dolores is still working. Who's that down there? That looks good. Is that Lucy, I think? That looks beautiful.
Yeah, Lucy, that's a good one.
We used to do this to pizza dough when I worked at a pizza place in college.
Oh, cool.
Exactly the same technique.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. We got a professional on the line. I don't even know why I'm talking then. We should be listening to Lucy.
Lizzie, I think yours looks good. Just
Yeah.
make sure you have enough tension for it tucked under. Who's that up top here? Is this Alice? No. That's
That's
Josh,
Josh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
Cool.
How can you tell if the tension is good? Like what? Like it does feel pillowy. It feels like it's gonna stay in the shape, but like the last couple of ones I've tried, like it's hard for me to know what I'm looking for. Like,
Yeah. Well, I guess if it's staying in a shape and it's still like, mine's going to slowly kind of ooze out into a pancake now as it sits here longer, but you can see right now it's still like mounded, it's got that nice circular shape. So if you got that going on, I think you're golden. If you don't, if it's like oozing out a lot, then, let it sit for another half hour because you've just like folded it a bunch of times. Let it sit for half an hour and try again. But.
Okay.
A couple of air bubbles.
Yeah, if you have air bubbles, that's a great sign that you've got
Oh, good.
coming in there. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I've got my basket there. I'm going to actually just take, because you can't really over flour this too much. I'm going to flour the surface of this just a little bit more. An air bubble just came out. Just rub that on there. Gently. Take the bench knife or whatever, scoop it up into your hand. Now flip it upside down. So now the seam side is facing up and put it in the basket. So top is down, seam side is facing up. So you can see mine, this is where my seam was right there. And it's upside down.
I don't have a bench knife.
Yeah, you can use a spatula, or you can just kind of like just get underneath that. Put some flour in your hand, get underneath it, scoop it up, put it over.
And how much do we think this is going to rise?
Probably not that much. So you can see, so mine is not actually quite the surface of my basket yet. I expect it to go maybe at half an inch to an inch over the top of this surface by tomorrow morning. So it'll be kind of domed over there a little bit.
I wouldn't call that not that much. It's not going to double, but it's going to.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be, the basket should be plenty to contain it. Like you don't have to worry that it's going to like explode out and like ooze all over your fridge.
Okay.
Is there a temperature, like ambient temperature, we should be looking for when we're keeping this overnight to rise?
Well, I don't know what the temperature in my fridge is, but I mean, whatever, probably fine.
This is going into the fridge, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Cool. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flour the bottom of this thing now a little bit. And I'm going to take my clean towel here, place that over it. That's going to help it prevent it from drying out when it's in the fridge, So I'll tuck these things underneath. And then make sure you give it it should be loose though. Like you don't want to like batten this thing down because it's still going to rise, right? So make sure it's got plenty of room to rise there. And then, so I got some slackness in that. And then what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to take a plastic bag and I'm going to put the plastic bag over this whole jam. I'm going to do it against the seam of the plastic bag is on the bottom. I don't know if it matters too much. And the reason again for this is just, I don't want this to dry out when it's in the fridge. So the tea towel should hopefully prevent that, but I'm going to put the plastic bag over it just in case to give it some more, just to trap some more of that moisture and stuff. Because I don't want like a skin to form on it. So again, that's going over it pretty loose. So that way it has plenty of room to grow. And this sucker's going in the fridge. There you go. That's it. We'll see that tomorrow 10 a.m., Judgment Day. Who's got questions? How is it looking? Is everybody's looking good? Is it in there upside down?
Ours is definitely too loose, so it's going to have to sit for a little bit longer.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I mean, if you did all your folds and stuff like that, then that means you've now put more tension into it. Let it sit for half an hour, try again.
Okay.
Cool. But that's definitely good that you noticed that.
If it's still loose after half an hour, just keep doing the same thing, keep folding and wait for it to tighten up a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's kind of about all you can do.
Okay.
At what point do you
give up?
Call it, yeah.
I mean, you can also just give up whenever you get bored with it and just be like, you know what, it's time to put this thing in the fridge. Time to put this to bed. You can do that at any point. Again, like, we don't have to go for perfection here.
Yeah, sounds good.
David, if I have a plastic lid that can fit on my bowl. Is that fine versus putting plastic around it?
So 2 things with the plastic lid is I would make sure that there's enough room that if it grows, it's not going to be bumping up against that lid. And definitely don't seal the lid, because that will, that might prevent it from growing. Or the lid, which I had once. So one time I did seal the lid, and it flew off. It was rising at room temperature. It actually launched across the room. So, keep that in mind. You're dealing with the force of nature here, so,
What can I say? What is her name? Oh God. I might say this wrong. Alan Krita, did you find that yours wasn't ready yet? I just see you pulling it. Are you gonna?
I started the process a little later, so I did. It's like I'm running half an hour behind, so I have to do my folding now.
Yeah. So you'll let it rest and then.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Sounds good.
This is
Cool.
fun.
All right. So what's going to happen tomorrow is we got 10 a.m. on this call. Before that, preheat your oven 500 and put whatever you're putting in there. So if it's a Dutch oven, if it's a pizza stone, get that in there, get that hot. Also tomorrow morning at any point, get up, check on the bread and check on the dough and see how it's looking. If it looks like maybe you want it to rise more or something, this is totally a value judgment. I won't be there to make a decision for you. So just look at it and be like, you know what, I think that needs to rise some more. If you feel that's true, leave it out and let it go. I'm going to let it take mine out probably a half hour before we bake it or something.
Yeah. Also, you will be getting an email after this call that has a survey in it for you to vote on what you would like to make. This is our last sort of planned one. So we have a list of a menu of options, so you can vote and rank your top 5 choices of what you'd like to vote for. We also asked for some feedback on improvements or changes that you might like to see.
Very professional.
Yeah, can you tell who maybe came up with this idea? Who's organizing this? Who's the brains behind the operation?
Keep your customers engaged.
I'm the administrator.
That's right.
Very good.
I'm just the muscle. Jenny's the brains.
Have you got suggestions for what your next bake might be?
Well, so we got a list there for you guys to pick from. We got all sorts of good treats there.
So you're going to make the decision about what it's going to be.
Bagels, pretzels, cookies, I don't know, all sorts of
croissants.
Are they all sourdough?
So most of that stuff will be sourdough.
I think there are like 15 options, and I think 12 of them are sourdough.
Yeah. So we've got some things that are not sourdough, like croissants and pasta. So if you want a break from the sourdough, it's fine. But if you want to flex those sourdough muscles some more, we've got plenty of options too. So
I had a thought today. What about naan? Could we do? Is there such a thing as sourdough naan?
Why not? Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to look into it. I think that it's probably pretty easy because like naan and stuff, you don't have to really let it rise, right? It rises when it cooks. So probably pretty easy. It's probably actually a pretty similar process to this, except
Alon might be able to teach that class.
No, I don't think so.
You can do just a plain naan class and make naan.
I can be the taste tester.
Can do that. Yeah, I don't know. We may need to make some changes too, because I don't think anybody has a tandoor oven in their house, but we can do it with a pizza stone, I'm sure, or something.
So that the survey that we'll send out, if you fill it out before 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, then we can announce the top winners or the next menu of options.
Jenny will tabulate the results. I'll throw them out and we'll make a decision.
Right.
Cool. All right. Any more questions before we break for today?
No.
Peppa! Wait, I have one question. Do we put it in the fridge right now?
Yeah, get it in there.
Cool. Thank you, guys. This is awesome.
Cool. All right. We'll see you all tomorrow morning. Game time.
Have a good night.
See ya.
See you guys.